Hello everyone, my name is Ark and welcome back to another SH Monster Arts review. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the long-awaited Godzilla Evolved from Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire 2024 Godzilla. I am so freaking hyped and excited about this figure. It is incredible the amount of controversy that this figure has had throughout the last couple of months, and it showcases between different events like San Diego Comic-Con and most recently New York Comic-Con and whatnot. But he is finally here. Got him through Mecha Japan, which honestly, great website. They had this came out pretty much to US MSRP without the shipping and taxes and all that kind of stuff. So I got it for $140 after shipping and taxes, but it's still under like regular price MSRP. So without further ado, let's take this guy out and see how he looks. Alright, so here we have Godzilla Evolved in all of his amazing and beautiful pink glory. So this guy stands at a whopping 6 inches to the top of the head, a little bit higher to the top of the dorsal fins and whatnot, which is the standard for any SH Monster Arts. You can probably definitely get him standing a little bit higher if you fix the legs for sure, but 6 inches is like his regular natural pose. Now, the way that he compares in terms of stature with the other 2024 Godzilla is about this much. So let me get this guy out as well. So here we have the two Godzillas next to each other. You can see the clear difference between the two, which is absolutely amazing, and I love it. My God, is it good? I like it. Now, they are like very different in terms of how they're like manufactured and sculptured and all that kind of stuff. Again, we have a more dark tonish with the skin over here, a very light sort of green tone Godzilla over here on the Godzilla Evolved, which I don't think is an issue. It does make him feel like he is in the sand area and also in the hollow earth, which again, I have no issues whatsoever. Now, when it comes to like in terms of the aesthetics, like the sculpting in this figure is immaculate. I absolutely love it. There's a lot of good sculpting details that are very different from the regular Atomic Breath edition or the version, and the wash that they added throughout the figure is really, really good. Now, for mine, I do think this might be an issue for some. There's an extra bit of paint added onto the top of the head. It probably was supposed to be for the entire figure, but they feel like they just stopped here, and that's where it cuts off. So a little bit of a blunder on my own figure, which kind of sucks, but at the same time, we're kind of used to it for SH Monster Arts at this point. And then this section right here, actually, this is sort of green yellowish, but it transitions into pink. That is a questionable decision. So the head is very pink, to be fair. I will say, the eyes, if I can get a good shot of the eyes are actually pretty good. They're not bad. They actually look straightforward, which is really nice. It's not that noticeable in camera, but they are looking sort of straightforward. The right eye is a little bit lower, but it's still, both of them are looking straightforward, which is awesome. Now, one thing that has been noted by people is that this guy is translucent on the dorsal fins, and I will sort of showcase that here. So let me turn my lights off real quick, just a little bit, and then let me get a flashlight going. So this guy apparently is he has a lot of translucency with the actual dorsal fins, and that is true. You can shine a light on them and you'll see that they are translucent, even towards the bottom of the figure, which is really nice. I actually was not thinking that they were going to do that, because I'm pretty sure it was mentioned that his spines were not translucent in multiple interviews, I think. So it is definitely weird as to why they kind of changed their minds throughout it, but I think it was the right decision to make them translucent. That way in the future, when we get an Atomic Breath version of this guy, we can get like painted spikes instead. So yeah, in terms of aesthetic, I think this guy looks really nice. There are a couple of blunders here and there. I will say the tail, while it's painted nicely with the spines and everything, doesn't have any of the green wash whatsoever. So that is definitely a bummer, because they definitely stopped, for mine at least. I don't know if it's the same for everyone, but you can definitely see that they had the green wash going into each section, and then they just stopped completely. The whole tail is not painted correctly, so definitely an issue there. The spikes at the spines at the back of the tail look really nice. They are protruded more than your usual Godzilla, which is really nice. So again, a couple of mishaps here and there, which is unfortunately very common for SH MonsterArts, but at this point it's whatever, honestly. I looked at some good and some bad in this on this channel already, and you guys know. But overall, this guy does have a lot more paint from the looks of it than the 2024 one, which is kind of a plus already, but if it's not completely done in the right manner, it's gonna kind of suck. But in terms of articulation, this guy does have a couple of different things and improvements from any previous MonsterVerse Godzilla. So, for example, the head, which was also something that was talked about a lot. He is meant to do that turn with the neck, and apparently they did do a lot of engineering for him to actually do that turn, and honestly, they definitely did. You can get him to turn back if you wanted to without popping the thing. So, if I can pop it right back in. Oh god. Please don't tell me I'm gonna struggle. So, you can definitely pop it back in. There's like a lot of sort of looseness. You can look forward about that far, so that's the only issue with this guy. He can't really look up. Unlike the other MonsterVerse Godzillas, he can look up. He can look down very far, especially if we use his chest section, or yeah, his pec section. He can look down very far. And then, of course, he can look side to side very well. That is amazing. I don't think any other Godzilla has had that much articulation on their necks, which is good. So again, he can look to the side, to the left that far, and then to the right, equally the same without popping the actual peg. But it is nice to know that they are ball pegs that are attached on there. Just be careful as to how much pressure and stress you put onto those. For, again, the chest, he is kind of movable, so he can look down or sort of crunch up about that far, which is really nice, and then forward that much. So you can get a little bit of range going up, but not too much. The abdomen itself, a little bit tight. I don't know if he's supposed to go down, but it does not look like it in terms of the actual sculpt. It feels like he just kind of gets stuck on there, so there's like no movement whatsoever. For the arms, we have our usual sort of ball pegs going on, so we can rotate the arms 360 degrees all the way around. We do have a bicep swivel, which is sort of new for Godzilla, or at least MonsterVerse Godzilla. We do have a single jointed elbow from the looks of it, or double jointed elbow, or single jointed. I'm guessing this is the elbow right here. So, honestly, I'm more than happy that this figure sort of pops out easily in terms of the actual pegs, because I'd rather a figure pop out easily than a figure to be stressed out and then me breaking the actual pegs. So we do have ball pegs for the shoulders, of course, bicep swivels, elbow swivels, a little bit of range with those ball pegs, and of course wrist swivels as well if you wanted to use those, and of course forearms slight swivels right there. So yeah, this guy has some pretty good articulation on the upper body. For the lower body, that is something that is also new for this figure, so let's figure that out here. For the legs, he can kick forward about that far, and then kick backwards about this far, which is not much, but it works, I guess. Double jointed knee, which is awesome. We do have sort of like a sleeve right here that is supposed to hide the actual like section right here on the knee, but it kind of got stuck inside, so just you'd have to pull it out every single time that you use the knees for that sole reason. So it works fine. It works really good, about 90-degree angle on that thing. And of course we do have a foot pivot, downward, forward, and pivot side to side. Very nice. No articulated toes, unfortunately, which sucks for Godzilla. But for the tail is definitely good. But there's also the usual Bandai shtick where sometimes it pops off easily. Now, my 2024 Godzilla does pop off from the tail at this section right here. For some reason, the peg itself is already like molded weird, where it just pops off. If I pull it to the left, or actually the right, to the left a little bit, it just pops off instantly. So unfortunately, my Godzilla for this figure does have that too. So if I exactly, there you go. So I don't know if it's usual for every Godzilla evolved that's going out there. So this section right here, so 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, the 10th section of the leg, this peg itself, it seems that the socket is fine. The socket seems to be fine for mine. But if, of course, let me just put this back in. If I put too much pressure going forward, even not that much pressure going forward, but if I pull it a little bit forward, it just pops off because, again, it hits the edge of its own sculpt, which kind of sucks, but it still works fine, actually. So as long as I don't push it too far, it will work. But you can definitely see that even going downward, that's another section right there. Okay, still works. Again, just be careful as to how much pressure you put. You can definitely put this guy in a sleeping pose for sure. Look at that. That is amazing. I don't know if any Monster vs. Godzilla has been able to do that lately, like at all whatsoever. Yeah, you'll have a gap here, but again, it's not popping off, which is great. That's what matters in my opinion. Going high, again, you'll have to be careful with that, or at least for mine. I don't know about your guys's. If you have gotten this figure, let me know if that happens to you as well. I would love to know, but it does curl up pretty far as well from the looks of it, which is, again, beautiful. And sideways is another situation where you can pretty much get the tail to, once again, the same peg. It keeps popping off, which is common for me. Every single SH MonsterArts tail, or Monster vs. Godzilla tail, seems to be the same thing. So for me, at least. I don't know about you guys. Everyone might be different. But it curls up really nice. So in terms of the articulation, he does have a lot of good things. A couple of questionable things here and there. For example, like the sleeve here to cover it up. They definitely could have added that to the knee sculpt itself. We do have the trademark here, just so you know that it is a real one. Oh, wait, they actually spelled it right. Legendary. Awesome. Wait. No, it's right. Yeah, legendary. So legendary. So there was a funny thing with the... If you don't know, there was a funny thing going around with the Kong exclusive where it was legendary, but it was the second E was an A, so it was legendary. So it was funny because it's a misspelling by an official company, so it's gonna be funny. But again, this guy looks amazing, and also he. One thing is that he doesn't really close his mouth. That's one downside, I would say, of the figure, but he does look magnificent. He can open his mouth about that far. So you could probably put a pink beam if you wanted to for this figure, but again, very good. Now, in terms of the accessories, he comes with almost nothing, but it's 2 separate hands. Now I'm trying to get out of the package right now because there's no reason to cut here. I'm dropping things. So he does have sort of like his relaxed hands and more of his attack face clawing hands, which is really nice. They look good as well, so hopefully switching them out. Oh my god, that is a big disparity. Look at that. Oh my. Buddy, I think one of your hands got sunburned or didn't get enough melanin going on there. But yeah, you can see the disparity between these 2 hands. Wait, it's not even the same as the other 2. That's insane. They're kind of equal on the original sculpt itself, but here they're completely different. I think they used a white like a grayish air dry brush for the right hand, and then they used a regular brush for... Oh my. Oh no. Is it an issue? I would say so, because again, you're paying premium dollar for this figure, and then for not even the nails to be fully painted. Holy, they definitely like stopped on this figure for a little bit and took a break, and they had to ship it. Wow, even the nails are not fully painted. Like the one on the left hand is fully painted, but the right hand is not. Wow, okay, thank you, Bandai. I absolutely love that. But again, it's all right at this point. What's the point? But yeah. So I guess more aesthetic choices. We know that the paint is gonna be hit or miss for a lot of people. The feet, Godzilla feet, they're both unequal as well. So another thing about that, very uneven for both of them. Holy damn. Okay. As much as I like this figure, there's definitely a lot of issues with it. That is not a good. Does he have drop down hips? Does Godzilla have drop down hips? No, he doesn't. Why is this one dropping down? Okay, I have a leg dropping down and another leg that's not. Interesting. So it seems like he has drop down hips, but it doesn't. Like, you can see that, right? Interesting. Well, final verdict. Final thoughts, I guess. There's a lot of good and bad things about this figure. The good things are the articulation. I think this is one of the best articulated Godzillas that we've gotten, and I know there's a lot of other good ones. I don't own them, so forgive me if I'm like ignoring a couple of previous Godzillas that have been released in the past. I don't own every single one of them because I recently just started with my collection this year. So, yeah, I do apologize. But in terms of the bad things, it's always going to be the paint job. While the prototype and the initial showcase or the initial showing of the figure is going to be completely perfect, something that we want and desire, the final product is not always going to be that way. Now, also, I forgot to point this out, but some of my spikes or dorsal fins do have a little bit of that grayish paint on them, and it kind of sucks because I have to scrape it off later down the line. But again, the paint job not being consistent throughout the entire figure, especially the tail, does suck. But if I decide to customize it one day, that's going to be better for me. But I don't want to do that. I hate customizing my figures because I don't know how to. Again, just the sloppy paint job does really bring it down. The teeth being really pink and just Colgate strips do suck as well. So I honestly, in terms of the score for this figure, I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. Could it be a little too high? Maybe, but I really do like what they were trying with this figure in terms of the articulation. I do think that it's not revolutionary, but it works well for what they're doing. But my figure has a couple of flaws. I don't know if they're the same flaws as everyone else. The paint job kind of very sloppy on my figure, which does suck, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to get a really good one later down the line. If I'm able to find one somehow, then that'd be great. But again, paint job is sloppy. So is it a hit or miss for the company? Am I being too generous with a 7 out of 10? Perhaps. I would love to know what your guys' thoughts about this figure is down in the comments section below. Please do let me know, especially if you've gotten yours as well. Do you think they did a good job with this figure? Do you think that it's not a good figure? I would love to know. I've been hearing praise and non-stop about this figure with a couple of issues here and there, but I feel like the issues kind of just stuck up a lot more in this video, especially while using him. Definitely if you saw the video throughout. I'm definitely dragging this a lot, but I think it's a good topic of discussion for this guy specifically. So yeah, again, let me know down in the comments what you guys think about this figure, but that's all the time I have for you guys today, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.